boy, oh boy, Devil May Cry 5, it's finally here. If you follow me on Twitter, you may have noticed that I have kind of been excited for this game, and to be completely honest, I had no idea it was even coming out until last September, seeing as I rarely keep up with any new game releases nowadays, because most of them are borderline garbage on day one. But dear God, has the wait for this one been long. It's been 11 years since a new game has come out. Yup, 11 years. A whole decade. Nothing in the middle. Okay, it's been more like 6, if we count the reboot, and well, I personally have managed to keep my hands clean of that shit show. Since 14-year-old me, after seeing Dante's hair in the announcement, pushed it so far into my subconscious that I managed to forget its mere existential crisis. But...
oh, fuck.
I digress. We are here to focus on the new, the cool, the shiny, and the loud, because let's face it, this is all that matters now. Story-wise, DMC5 takes place in a town called Redgrave, where a demonic tumbleweed has set its roots, and it's up to the trio of V, Dante, and Nero to stop the demonic douchebag that orchestrated the entire event. On the way, you will meet Reapers, Bugs, Green Bugs, Southern accents.
Don't crap yourself. He likes to kill demon things.
More bugs, ladies with
rocket launcher,
male feminists, and many more. I'm going to start off by telling you right out the gate that DMC5 is an amazing experience. The gameplay is fluid, graphics are beautiful, and the music is absolutely godlike. Listen to this. It's also nice to see that Capcom hasn't done something that appears to be the norm in today's game development industry, which is that whoever comes up with the systems that are loved by a vast majority of the player base gets the boot once the game comes out, and all their ideas get flushed down the toilet. Game breaking. Instead, Capcom took what made Devil May Cry into Devil May Cry and improved on it, adding new systems that complement the old, allowing veterans to get back into the game and also for new players to get into it. It has all the over-the-top cutscenes and corny, yet good, one-liners that you come to expect from the series.
Somebody call a doctor?
The things you have come to expect from a Devil May Cry game are all here, with much appreciated extras. If you haven't followed the DMC story, or haven't really caught up to it, it may leave you wanting more. Although you don't need to be 100% in the know of every little detail. The game does throw some references from older games into the mix that may leave you guessing, but there are a lot of videos on YouTube that will catch you up to speed. I personally haven't played 1, 2, and well, this one still doesn't count, because quite frankly, they weren't available to me at the time of their release. I do plan on playing through all of them at one point. Yes, this one as well. So, in my book, DMC5 gets a 10 out of 10. Yes, there are a few minuses to the game, but for me personally, it just hits all the right notes. I'm also a bit biased, seeing as the hack and slash genre is one of my favorites and DMC is what introduced me to it. I will quickly start this segment off and mention the cameo system that is implemented in this game, which, if you are unaware, is a system that allows you to meet and play with people that are on the same mission at that time. If no players are matched, you will instead get the pleasure of fighting alongside some Ghost Data or the DMC crew. You can also rate the people that are matched with you at the end of the mission. When you are rated stylish, you will be awarded with a gold orb, which is used for revives. More on that later. It's a very neat system, but I feel that it's a bit underutilized in the game. You really don't get to interact with people at all you see is what they're doing. It's also funny how some of the secret areas on the map are only accessible if the player that you are matched with does something and therefore alters your own mission. But it's pretty cool. I would love to see this system be implemented in a more interactive fashion, like for example a co-op Bloody Palace, wink wink nudge nudge Itsuno-san. I do realize that this is coming out way after Bloody Palace is released, but you know, a boy can dream. Let's move on. In DMC5, throughout the game, you will be awarded with red orbs, as per usual. This time, the devs decided to scrap the idea of Proud Souls that they have used in Devil May Cry 4 and make everything purchasable with the red goo. Although there wasn't much wrong with using two separate currencies for upgrades and items, it did render the red orbs useless once you had bought all the blue and purple orbs. Speaking of orbs, there are a total of 6 orbs. Red, as mentioned before, is used for upgrades and this time also for revives. Green restores your health. White restores Devil Trigger, gold lets you revive on the spot, purple orbs increase your DT gauge, and blue ones increase health. A set amount of the last 2 are sold in the shop and the rest you will have to find on your own. On the topic of finding things on your own, throughout the missions you will find blue and purple orb fragments. Collecting 4 of either will reward you with 1 orb, depending on which 4 you have collected. These fragments can be acquired either by going through secret areas or completing secret missions. Secret missions are tackled differently from previous games. During your playthrough, you are bound to come across these symbols. When you spot one, look for either a vantage point or a small red light coming from the ground and line up the symbol to make a full one. This will allow you to start the mission. All in all, most of them are pretty straightforward. Kill some enemies, stay in the air, get from point A to point B, sell your kidney, nothing special really. Some are easy and some require you to get creative. This time they are also separated from the main mission, in the sense that getting hit or using Devil Trigger doesn't affect anything once you are done with the secret mission. Moving on to upgrading. Upgrading in DMC5 has received some changes. The divinity statues are gone.
I got a new arm for ya!
Instead, you have Nico, also known as Best Girl. Before every mission and close to the end, you will have a chance to spend your red orbs. Near the end of the mission, you will come across the phone booth that allows you to call Nico and get your upgrades. How the phone lines still work in a city that is completely demolished, or why the phone booths still exist in the year 2019 is beyond me. But oh well, it's a video game. The upgrades that you can get are mostly along the same lines as they were in previous installments, with some new ones added to the mix. Something that is done this time around is that you can actually try them out in the void before buying them. You can also disable already purchased power-ups that you feel serve little purpose, like Combo B for example. Just a random thought. Combo B. You can disable that. The void is this game's training room that allows you to set enemies for trying out combos or if you want to just learn their attack patterns. The upgrades are relatively cheap, ranging from around 1k all the way to about 3 mil for a taunt. Good investment, but the game is very generous with orbs. You even have a weapon that increases the amount of orbs that you get. Upgrades range from sprint and double jump to different combo unlocks. Also worth noting, red orbs this time around are shared between all characters, unlike the Proud Souls in DMC4. So, if you feel that you could have more use investing them at a later mission to some other character, then don't spend them right away. I was also planning on giving this whole spiel about consumables like vital stars, holy water and such, and how you shouldn't use them. Not because they reduce your mission rating, but rather because you don't need those items. You never have. You must strive to become better. Without who gives a fuck, they tossed them out of the shop anyways. Just a quick mention, in the game you will encounter a few doors that will close after a certain time period, and will not open once the timer runs out. So be quick, otherwise you may... Wait, hold on. What are you... Oh goddamn! Throughout your playthrough, you will encounter different enemy types. There are a total of 19 enemy types in the game, and each time you are introduced to a new one, there will be a short cutscene that plays to set the mood. These enemies can be extremely dangerous, so make sure you memorize their attack patterns and adjust your playstyle accordingly. In DMC5, you play as 3 characters, Dante, B, and Nero. Each of them have their own unique set of skills and mechanics that operate completely differently from one another. B uses his pets to do the dirty work for him, and his only attack being reel and execute. Dante has a wide variety of weapons including swords, nunchucks, pistols, and a hat, just to name a few. And also a stance switch mechanic. Nero uses his classic 2 weapons, the Red Queen sword and the Blue Rose pistol, and you may have heard something about a mechanical arm.
Devil Breaker cybernetic prosthetic.
Robot arm.
Devil Breaker arm.
These things that are called Devil Breakers?
It's terrific fun.
It's sort of flown under the radar. I won't be going too in depth with all the characters and the way the combos work just because, well, some of them contain a few spoilers, and part of the fun when it comes to Devil May Cry is figuring those things out for yourself. First and foremost, I present to you the Devil May Cry Starter Pack. You will need a system that can run DMC5, any of these will do, the actual game, a minimum of 2 controllers, because this is the sound your controller makes when you play an average game, and this is the sound it makes when you play Devil May Cry. Before you do anything, follow this quick tutorial. Go into your options, controls, V, and change the input of Griffin to something actually chargeable in combat while pressing triangle. Do the same for Nero's gun. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Similar to DMC4, you also have the chance to use an automatic mode called Auto Assist, if you so desire. This will make some of the more complex combos easier to use. Some, in this case, is a major understatement. It literally plays the game for you. Go ahead, turn it on if you wish, but when doing so, also go sit in that corner with Microsoft Edge and Skype. But Kim, I still use Skype. Can't learn to ride a bike if you never take off the training wheels. Now, on to characters. Meet V.
I'll be gentle.
V is a man with cool tattoos, is great with animals, enjoys reading, long walks on the beach, and harnesses the... As I mentioned before, V has brought some friends over to help him in battle. This is Griffin, this is Shadow, and this is Bob. Griffin will be your ranged attack and Shadow your melee. But other than pure offense, they also help you out defensively. Griffin will be your double jump and glide, and also your back dodge. Shadow will help you zoom around the map while sprinting and dodging from side to side. Both of them also have their own health bars, which, once depleted, render them unusable in combat for a short duration. However, using your Devil Trigger, which turns your hair white and also summons Bob, but that's really a secondary effect, will instantly refill their health and make them invincible. They will also start attacking on their own, so go ahead and use it if you are in a sticky situation. It is also worth mentioning that standing close to either Shadow or Griffin will regain their health at a faster rate. That's the power of friendship, folks. So, even if V is nowhere near danger, if you see either of them on the brink of death, use either the backwards or sideways dodge to bring them up close and regain their health, depending on who is low. They aren't disposable pods, goddammit, they're your friends! In regards to secrets, many of the secret areas when playing as V that contain fragments or secret missions can only be accessed by using your Devil Trigger, in which Bob crashes through the wall to reveal a secret room. So use your Devil Trigger often. See this wall? See how you can't pass through?
What's good,
Yeah. You can also charge your Devil Trigger as V by reading his book. Check the control layout for ways of doing so. Moving on to Dante. Dante plays exactly the same as he did in DMC4, using his staple Royal Guard, Trickster, Swordmaster, and Gunslinger styles, which are bound to the directional buttons. You also have a wide variety of weapons. 8 can be used at a time, 4 ranged and 4 melee weapons. You can switch between any of them seamlessly in combat to rack up combos. Have you ever watched something that felt insignificant in comparison? Yeah, me too. Me too. In regards to Dante, there aren't really many tips I can give.
Move over, Nero fag. Time to let the Dante pros handle this one.
What the fuck? How'd you get in my house?
Dante has 4 weapons, 4 guns, and 4 styles in DMC5. I'll go over the weapons first. Rebellion is Dante's signature... well, was Dante's signature sword, but now Spada takes that cake. Spada is Dante's best all-around weapon, perfect for any scenario and for turning your enemies into minced meat. Balrog is the fist weapon of the game, and it feels very different compared to the other versions of these weapons in the previous games. Because with this one, you can punch! Balrog also has a kick mode that can be switched to by going backwards and attacking, which has much better ways of hitting multiple targets rather than the fists. Don't just use one mode and stick with that though, use the fist and kick mode together. To make a longer and more damaging combos, they're one weapon, don't forget that. Speaking of one weapon in relation to multiple forms, Cerberus also makes its return, and boy is it back with a bang. It has 3 forms in this game, the classic ice nunchucks, a fire staff, and an electric flaccid staff. All of these forms are best suited for ground combat, since their air moves aren't too useful unless you jump cancel them for style. Just remember that you can switch to any of these forms while you're attacking. Just do the standard attack for ice, hold attack for electric, and use Swordmaster for fire. Finally, we have no doubt the best addition in the entire franchise. A freaking motorcycle, yeah! You can split this baby in 2 and use it like a pair of chainsaws. It is slower than the rest of the weapons though, so don't go totally brain dead while using it. But it has some of the best air moves out of all the weapons, so there's no better choice to juggle your enemies and run them over. Yeah! You're rude! Yeah! Now on to Dante's firearms. We have our girls Ebony and Ivory, perfect for combo extensions in the air and raining bullet hell. We also have Dante's shotgun for up-close devastation and another stinger. He also takes the rocket launcher from the real best girl for a slow-to-fire but huge range damage output. You can even put the two together and oh my god! Finally, we have Dante's new hat. Looks pretty good on him. The hat has a sort of risk and reward mechanic to it. You can mark enemies and give them the howdy, and as you attack them you get more red orbs. If you get hit while using the hat, however, you lose red orbs. You can also do... Oh, Jesus Christ, it's just a hat, man. Lastly, we have Dante's styles. Trickster, Swordmaster, Gunslinger, Royal Guard. Trickster gives Dante a dedicated dodge button, allowing him to do so in both the air and the ground. The time between Trickster dashes has also been omega buffed since DMC4. Apart from that, it also allows you to teleport directly to enemies. Not really much to explain here. Swordmaster is where the fun begins. It's a style that gives all of Dante's melee weapons a new button to attack with. For Spada, it lets Dante attack in the air. Bullrog gets access to exclusive heat-consuming special moves. Cerberus can use the Fire Staff mode I mentioned earlier, and Cavalier, the motorcycle, can go vroom vroom, yeah! Gunslinger works the same way as Swordmaster, except with Dante's firearms. It'll let Ebony and Ivory shoot in multiple directions, focus on one target, or use a combo extender in the air. The shotgun will be able to use its own stinger, because we all know that everyone spams stinger when they're mad. The rocket launcher can use some close-up destruction, and the hat can create a shield around Dante, or create a mini-hat. Oh, look at him, he's so cute. Finally, we have Royal Guard, which gives Dante defensive capabilities. Holding down a Royal Guard will just let Dante block until the shield breaks. But what's really interesting is the perfect block, which is done by Royal Guarding an attack at the last second. All this blocking is done for a reason though, don't worry. It all builds a meter which increases the damage of Dante's Royal Revenge. But even this can be used just before an enemy attack to avoid all damage. It's absolutely beautiful, man. With all that covered, you should perfectly understand why Dante is the main character of this franchise. Play Dante. Embrace the wacky woohoo pizza man. Eat pizza while you play Dante. Get hand cramps from constantly switching styles. Bang your head to these awesome tunes. You cannot kill me. I am a Meg.
Other than losing his hair, Nero has also lost his arm. But don't worry, because Best Girl is here to help with her Devil Breakers. There are a multitude of different breakers in the game that all do different things. This one is a rocket, this one is a laser, this one is a whip, and this one is a I see. Yeah, all of them have essentially two moves. The charged up variant and the normal one. The second is essentially a light attack that deals less damage and doesn't consume the breaker, whereas the first one does a lot of damage and breaks after using it. You also lose your breaker if you take damage while using it, so make sure you can pull it off. There's also a new breakaway mechanic that gives you immunity frames in exchange for a breaker. You can also find new breakers scattered throughout the missions. Try weaving them into your combos to see what works for you. I would love to give you the main combos you need to play Nero, but I feel that it would take away too much from the experience, since it's fun to try out your own tactics. I will, however, tell you the CommanderCamp approved upgrades. This is in no way the path that you need to follow. Do what you want, upgrade what you want, be your own person, and live, goddammit! I recommend getting Roulette Spin and Streak, Speed, Air Hike, every level of Exceed, and Max Act. Here's why. Roulette Spin is insanely good for setting up aerial combos, and Streak for initiating and closing gaps. Speed is just good cause go fast. Air Hike is good for all purposes, and Exceed, well, it turns this into this. The reason I recommend getting Max Act early on is because Nero has this one mechanic, namely, he can rev up his sword for some very good damage. Although you don't have much time to rev it up manually mid-combat, there is this one thing. Hitting L2 after a swing lets you rev up your sword instantly. This is where Max Act comes in. This power-up makes it so that timing the exceed perfectly after a swing will fire it up on all 3 cylinders. Again, this is just my personal preference. Do what you want, have fun. The key to mastering Nero is utilizing the exceed function. This is all about rhythm. Practice it and it will become second nature. The perfect timing is as follows. At the very end of the swing, hit L2, or whatever it is that lets you rev up your sword. If you miss it by a little, it will fill up 1 gauge. Hit it perfect and you get all 3. Once you've gotten the hang of it, it becomes faster charging your sword like this rather than manually revving. Here's a cheat sheet. In general, you can also combo many of the character movement abilities to reach places otherwise deemed impossible. See those orbs up there? There's no way you can get them.
Wrong.
All you have to do is full exceed high time into an air hike into a taunt. The aerial taunt is really good for achieving more air time and also, as it turns out, for dodging. It also lets you recover some of your devil trigger. Nero also has a taunt where he puts his hood on and stays on until you get hit. Don't know what you'll do with that information, but there you go. The final general tip I can give you in regards to combat is that enemies won't attack you if they are not on your screen, unless they have already started their animations. Use this to your advantage when overwhelmed. The bosses in Devil May Cry 5 are great. Each of them have a distinct feel to them and no two are really the same. The moves are fairly telegraphed and provide a very fun gameplay experience, but they aren't a walk in the park either, making it important that you remember and predict their next move. Don't worry if you get stuck at a boss for an extended period of time. Simply analyze your gameplay and think of your approach and how you can improve. The bosses include Big Furry, whatever the fuck this is, Tentacle Man, and a vegan's worst nightmare, just to name a few. Almost all of the bosses are one-time encounters, meaning that every experience will be different. This, on top of having 3 distinct characters to fight them with, will make sure that the fights never get dull. Finally, if you have been hesitant on whether or not you should get this game, all I can say is that I strongly recommend it. Looking at you, Apako, you fucking cunt. Although I said the game is a 10 out of 10, I will say that some of the things could be improved, but I will link a video by Writing on Games who made a great review of the game, bringing out some of the minuses that this game has. Give it a watch. It's painful whenever an enemy attacks you from behind and you know it's coming, but you're just too slow off the lock-on button to get out of the way. It's not an insurmountable problem with time and training, but it's a problem many other games have solved. What? Pressing jump? Fucking pleb. Hey ho, welcome to the end of the video. It's a bit different from what I usually do. I usually make montages if this is your first video from me, but I do plan on covering more Devil May Cry 5 since I really fucking love this game.
You cannot kill me! I am Subhuman!
Okay, calm down now. You had your Dante segment. Are we good? Are we happy now? Great. I swear to God, every single time I'm recording, what video are you making? Can I join in? I got some ideas. Get your own material, goddammit. Now get out! Fucking hell. If you managed to stick around until this point, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you thought, what could be improved, what I missed, if you have any more tips to give, and yeah, peace out.